So I'm going to say the pinnacle. I'm going to use that correctly. Probably not. But the mood, the disposition that's created in me when driving on the interstate is formed by the actual getting on process. If I can't accelerate down that ramp because somebody in front of me wants to go 45 miles an hour until I get on the actual interstate, that frustrates me. If I can't get past a person in the right lane by using the left lane because somebody else wants to use the left lane as their cruising lane, that frustrates me. Both of those things have happened in the last 4 minutes. Couldn't get up to speed on the ramp because this little Ford Focus hatchback wanted to take its sweet time. They didn't get up to speed limit until like probably half a mile after we'd gotten on the ramp. The ramp is for acceleration. You're supposed to be at your speed by the time you get to the bottom of it. I can understand how if like somebody is coming in the right lane and you can't merge, but that's a different story because people should move over to the left lane when they see a car trying to merge. Especially semi-trucks. I cannot tell you how many semi-trucks, one, are on the roads these days. It's ridiculous. There's way too many trucks on the roads. Use a train, people. You can fit way more stuff on a train. Yes, they can't go everywhere a truck can, but you can at least put the truck close so they don't have to go all over the place. Anyway, semi-trucks should move over every time. Like, just make a habit of like a quarter mile before the exit, move over, and then move back after the exit. I don't know. It just makes sense to me. If I were a truck driver, that's what I would do. If there's somebody in the left lane, then you can't move over, then obviously there's nothing you can do. But there have been so many times that I've gotten on the interstate and a truck hasn't moved over, and I look and there's nobody there. There's nobody coming. There's nobody that's just past them. There's nobody in their way. They could have easily moved over. I don't know what the deal is with that. So, not in the best driving mood this morning, but I'm going to make the most of it because I have to do it anyway. So, that's that. Second thing I want to talk about today is last night I did something that I've wanted to do this for a while, but I've just not had. Well, one, I haven't really explored it, and two, it's a little scary for me. I signed up for an audition for a musical. Not the biggest deal in the world, but I enjoy theater. I enjoy going to shows. I enjoy singing. I enjoy acting. I think I'm pretty good at it. Others have told me I'm pretty good at it. So when I graduated college, I wanted to kind of pursue a community theater thing. There are several local productions that go on in my area, and I thought, hey, every summer, if there's a show going on I can be a part of, great. But there are only a few shows that I really feel comfortable doing because I'm familiar with them. So I wasn't really keeping an eye out as heavily as I probably could have. But I did catch wind of a production that's going on in my area in August, and the audition process starts in May. So I signed up. May 6th is my audition day, and I'm excited. I mean, my finger hovered over the submit button for a while before I actually clicked my sign up. But I mean, I've done shows before. Like, I've been in front of groups. I teach, obviously, so I'm used to being in front of a group of people and essentially performing. But it's just, each time it's a new group of people or a situation that you haven't been part of before, it gets a little bit nerve-wracking. But I'm gonna do my best. I'm not shooting for any part in particular, so that's helpful. You don't really get your hopes up about anything. to have them crushed before you like an empty pop can. I don't know. But it should be exciting. I'm excited about it. I don't know how well the rehearsal schedule is going to work because I do have some obligations in the summer that I'm not available every time they rehearse, but most of them. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm excited. The show is Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I've liked this show for a long time. My mom got me hooked on it because she's a huge Donny Osmond fan, and if you know anything about this show, he was Joseph in the DVD, like, not the theatrical version, but it was like filmed and sent to DVD and stuff like that. So he was Joseph in that, so she had a copy, and I watched it growing up, and I enjoyed it. I've seen other like actual stage productions of it, like on YouTube and stuff, but I've never actually seen it live, so it'll be kind of cool to be a part of it if I get the chance. But yeah, I've actually done, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 productions. I've been a part of five productions in my entire acting career. And for a while, I had a streak going on where I only participated in one, and it was my last possible year to do it. Here's what I mean by that. In 8th grade, well, in our school, in elementary school, we had what was called pause theater. And there was a section for, I think, like, kindergarten through 3rd or kindergarten through 4th graders, like, they put on a show, and then the 5th through 8th graders put on a show. Or maybe it was, like, 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th. I don't remember exactly because it was a long time ago. But I always liked the idea. Some of my friends were in the shows growing up, but I never really had the guts to be a part of one. I always wanted to, but I just kind of was nervous about actually taking the plunge and getting involved. So my 8th grade year, I was like, okay, I got nothing left to lose. I'm going to be in high school next year. I'll go out for it. And we did a show called Bedside Manor. It was about some quirky doctors and interns. I think there was like some sort of mystery involved, and so I mean, it was fun. The downside was that was the one year that like our music teacher, Mrs. Giesman, wasn't directing it. They brought in like this hotshot college theater major. Her name was Carissa, and she was not a lot of fun. She was a little too intense for junior high theater. She like expected us to be on level with like college theater major level, and we just weren't. So that was annoying. Funny story about that. This video is probably going to be longer than I wanted it to be. But I didn't like her at all. And so behind the stage there was like a classroom area and it had a whiteboard in it. So one day during the rehearsal I took a marker and wrote "I hate Carissa" on the board. And as soon as I was done, I looked and saw that it was a Sharpie marker, not a dry erase marker. It's like, oh no! And so we had to scramble to try to find a way to get it off the board before she came back and saw it. But I wasn't the only one. A lot of the cast thought she was terrible. And just not fun to work with. And we were in junior high. I mean, that could have turned a lot of us off to theater for a while. And then I got to high school. And the productions were more elaborate. The set design, the quality of the music, and the acting and things like that was going up. And I was a short, fat kid. Didn't have a whole lot of self-confidence. I was on the bottom of the totem pole my freshman year. Now, I was a part of the band, and a lot of people in the band were also in the drama productions. So that could have helped if I had chosen to get involved in that way, but I just didn't. And I continued not to until my senior year. I was like, okay, it's my senior year. What have I got left to lose? So our high school does 2 productions a year. They do a fall play and a spring musical. And I was like, okay, musical? Nah, not for me. I'm not getting up and singing in front of a bunch of people. I'll sing in the shower. I'll sing, where I feel comfortable, in the car, whatever. But I'm not singing it on stage in front of a group of people, especially when the majority of them are my peers in a small town high school where I could catch a lot of backlash if people didn't like it. Or even if they did, you worry about getting teased for that kind of thing. So I joined the fall play, did a really good job, was told by several people that they really enjoyed what I brought to it, was invited to be part of the thespian group at our school, which not everybody is invited to do. And so that was a big honor. I chose not to, because I was like, I'm not going to make theater my career. I'm not going to make theater like a huge part of my life. So I just didn't see the point in joining this group that wasn't going to go anywhere, or that I wasn't going to take anywhere. So I turned that down, and I thought I was done. I thought, I finished the play. I did my one outgoing thing for high school, as far as like high school related. And that was it. And then springtime rolled around, and it was musical time, and everybody's asking me, hey, you going to be a part of the musical? You going to be a part of the musical? I was like, nah, I don't think so. I like the play, but the musical's not really my thing. It was this 1920s romance kind of deal. And my ex-girlfriend was the lead, and, being the high ego, cocky guy that I was in high school, especially my senior year, I thought if I auditioned, I would for sure get the lead. And I didn't want to be the love interest of a girl that I had been the love interest of for a long time and had been broken up with. You know what I mean? So it just would have been awkward. So I chose not to participate. And then the director comes to me like halfway through the rehearsal season, getting ready for the play. He's like, hey, we really need a person for this particular part. And it was a translator. In the play, there was like these two characters that spoke only Chinese, and the script called for a translator. Now you're maybe thinking, oh, you speak Chinese. No, I don't. But the part, like, you had a book in front of you, so it was as if you were reading the words. And looking back on it now, it makes it look like I didn't know my lines if I was reading out of this book, but the character was supposed to have that. They were like an interpreter who had like a Chinese to English dictionary essentially in front of them. So I played that part, and then the lead guy gets laryngitis a week before the show, and they ask me, hey, will you fill in? It's like, this is exactly what I was trying to avoid. So I had to spot read his lines and learn his songs until the day before the show, and everybody's like, okay, I guess you're gonna have to do it because he's still sick, and he gets better. I was like, whew, thank goodness. Now, he didn't sound perfect, but at least it wasn't me. And there were like 2 kissing scenes in this show, and our drama director was all about being legit, so I'm glad that fell in my favor, and I got to play my translator part and nothing more. And then I got to college, and I was like, okay, new experience. Nobody really knows me here. I can do whatever I want to do. But that didn't mean I did whatever I wanted to do. And it wasn't again until actually my junior year this time that I joined a production. It was a Christmas show. And the school puts it on every year, and a lot of times some of the sketches and skits are the same. They add new ones as well, and it's like you turn a hip-hop song into a Christmas song, or you put on a silly little sketch. They recreated or reenacted the Charlie Brown Christmas scene several times. So I was like, oh, that's a fun show, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time to rehearse for, and it's a one-and-done kind of deal, because a lot of people join this show that aren't part of the theater department. So it wasn't like I was going to be surrounded by a bunch of people that had been doing this together forever, and I was going to be the guy on the outs. So I was like, okay, I'll join part of that. I auditioned, got a solo, my first time out. Actually, I had 2 solos and one kind of duet quartet kind of deal. My first time out, I was like, oh my goodness, seriously? I was just looking for something like simple and easy that wasn't going to take a whole lot of my time and draw a lot of attention to myself. But I did it. I enjoyed it. I absolutely loved it. So I decided to go back my senior year and do it again. And like I said, they repeat some of the portions of the show from year to year. So I got the same solo I had the year before and a couple new parts. It was a ton of fun. We had a great time. I loved every minute of it. That kind of propelled me to be like, okay, after I graduate, I'll reach out to some community theater groups and see if I can be a part of their productions. And so now that's what I'm doing. I have an audition May 6th. We'll see where it goes. I'm I'll be sure to update when the time comes. For now, I'm a few minutes away from school. This video is way longer than it should have been, and I'll see you this afternoon.